the Master Brothers, and this is the 2021 Cupra Formentor VZ2, or VZ2.
Yeah, and it's the first Cupra that's actually been designed for Cupra, and it's not just a sporty version of a Seat, it's its own new thing.
We're going to break our review down using the MASTERating, so be sure to stay to the end to see how well it does.
Yeah, and if you want to learn what the MASTERating is, check out our website. We'll leave a link in the description.
So let's get into it.
Alright, so first we have money. The Cupra Formentor starts from around £28,000 for the bottom end basic version V1 and going all the way up to £42,000 for the top of the line VZ3.
Now the model that we have is the VZ2 version, and that starts from £40,620 for the petrol version and £40,560 for the hybrid version.
In terms of its competitors, you'd be looking at an Audi Q3 Black Edition, a BMW X1, or a Volvo XC40 type of car.
Yeah, but the Formentor kind of beat these cars already because you get so much as standard.
Yeah.
But we'll go through the additional extras that you can get later on.
You can expect to get an average fuel efficiency of around 32 miles per gallon, but I mean, we were driving it pretty hard, so we were getting low 20s, even slightly below 20 miles per gallon. But if you're driving it sensibly, you should get around the 32 mark.
Yeah, so it'll cost you about 17.5 pence for a mile, which, yeah, decent, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then for insurance, it's in insurance group 33, so it's pretty high up there, but it's the same as the Q3, the X1, and the XC40.
Now for aesthetic, let's start off with the exterior. From the front, it looks really aggressive with bold creases in the bonnet, really aggressive front headlights, which are LEDs, and then also you have some real vents in the front bumper, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's quite nice to see. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the size of the badge. I do think it's a little bit big, but it's minor.
Yeah, I think it's fine actually. I think it's kind of cool and it gives it a bit of distinction.
That's too big. It's too big. Moving to the side, with the VZ2 model, you get 19-inch alloys as standard, and I really like the look of them. If you go for the V1 model, you'll get 18-inch alloys, and then if you go all the way to the VZ3 model, you'll also get 19-inch alloys, but they have a bit of a different design, which, to be honest, I don't even like them as much as the VZ2 alloys.
Yeah, they're a bit crazier, and they've got a lot more copper on them, so they're definitely louder. You've also got some contrasting body panels at the bottom on the side, which give it a bit more of a sporty look, and even add a bit of off-roadiness to it, which is interesting, because it's quite sporty. I don't know if it's a car I would want to take off-road.
There's also some solid creases on the side, and overall the white paint looks pretty good, but they also offer some really cool metallic and even matte colors. But those metallic colors will cost you either £555 or £800, and the matte colors will be £1,800. And the white comes as standard, so, I mean, you can't go wrong with white.
Yeah, I think those matte colours might be worth it though. They're pretty sick.
They do look really cool in matte.
Then at the back, you have a bit of a spoiler. It's not much of a spoiler, but just helps add a little bit of downforce and looks quite sporty. And you've also got an LED tail bar going across the whole back, which just looks really good. And like, because it's Volkswagen Group and Audi and everything, they've incorporated those sort of dancing light features. So it kind of goes around and does a little bit of fanciness. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, but my favorite bit has got to be the real quad exhaust. Just the fact that they're real is just amazing to see.
Yeah, you see like Mercedes AMGs and stuff with 4 quad exhausts, and like you can see behind it the little dinky one. It's like, what are you guys doing?
It's ridiculous. It's not that hard to do it, and it just makes it so much better.
Yeah.
So thank you, Cupra.
Well done.
And there's also a little diffuser down there, which is probably more for looks rather than downforce.
Now before we move on, if you're enjoying the video, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps us as we're trying to grow our channel. And thanks to everyone for helping us reach 1K.
Yeah. Moving to the interior, you can have your choice of black Nappa leather or petrol blue Nappa leather.
Yeah, we only got to see the black one, but looking at the blue in sort of other videos, it does look pretty cool.
I was actually wishing that we got blue.
Yeah.
Because it does look really cool.
Yeah, either way, I mean the black is like classic standard, so yeah.
Yeah, it still looks good.
There's also a lot of copper elements throughout the interior, which initially before we got in the car we thought might get a bit tiring and would be a bit too much, but they've actually done it really nicely. It's not overwhelming, it's quite subtle, and it adds a bit more character to the interior, so it is quite nice actually.
Yeah, I think they've really done it well. There's a wraparound LED strip which literally wraps around from the passenger side door all the way around the dashboard to the driver's side, and it just looks amazing, and it also doubles for some safety features.
Yeah, we'll get into those safety features in the tech section. The front interior quality is really good overall as well. Everything is like very solidly built. It's good build quality, especially compared to our Tesla, like getting out from the Tesla into this car. Everything felt solid and secure, whereas like in the Tesla, I don't know, I felt like you could grab something and shake it.
This is a Cupra video. Let's stick to Cupra. Yeah, it's more of a car. Yeah, it's solid build quality. Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got quite a sporty design with that flat bottom steering wheel and buckety seats, so they really hug you, which is really nice.
They're not buckets, but they do hug you quite well.
Yeah, they say it's buckets on the website actually,
But it's not real.
but it's not. They're not real bucket. Yeah.
The rear is also pretty simple aesthetically, and the seats hug you as well, just like in the front, but it can get a bit dark, so an option you can get is the panoramic sunroof for just over £1,000, and I think that would really help with the overall lightness and airy feel of the car.
Now for Sense, we're going to split it up into driving and space, but since I didn't get to drive the car, Sean's going to take driving.
Yeah, so on the road, it feels really good actually, and very sturdy and solid. You have 5 driving profiles to choose from, including Comfort, Sport, Cupra, Off-Road, and Individual. And in Individual mode, you can configure each of the individual settings that change with each of the other driving profiles. And the settings that you can change include the dynamic chassis control, throttle response, engine noise, steering feel, and also ambient lighting as well. Just changes based on the driving mode, so it's pretty cool. There's a lot of customizability with the Individual mode.
The exhaust sound from the outside is decent. And on the inside, there is a bit of artificial sound injection when you're in Cupra or Sport mode, which it's alright. I'm not a huge fan of it. It kind of sounds a bit hollow.
Yeah, it sounds it's a bit strange. It's not quite right. I mean, it is good that there is a bit extra noise, but I don't know. It's not ideal, obviously.
Yeah, but it's good that in Individual mode you can turn it off.
Exactly. Yeah, you can have all the settings in Cupra, but then you don't have that much sound from the outside because there isn't that much noise.
Yeah, trade-off.
There's also a soft limiter, so when you're revving it up, it can only go up to 4,000 RPM, which is kind of annoying as well.
Yeah.
When you're driving in comfort mode, it is fairly quiet. Like we said, there isn't a lot of engine noise, but at higher speed, the road noise does build up a little bit, and it can be a bit annoying, but it's not too bad, especially coming from the Tesla once again. The dynamic chassis control also makes a massive difference between comfort and Cupra mode. In Cupra mode, it definitely stiffens up quite a bit, and it's a really nice, sporty feeling. You feel really like connected with the road, really hugging the road quite nicely. And also in comfort mode, it's quite comfy. You don't get absolutely destroyed by the bumps and stuff. It's quite nice. It is. They've done it well.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, from the back, because I was in the back most of the time, you can tell the difference. Comfort mode was very comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that this is standard on a £40,000 car, in individual mode, there's like a dial or like a line where you can adjust it to quite a high degree of detail.
Yeah.
How stiff you want the suspension. So it's pretty cool. It is good. With that being said though, the steering is probably one of the sort of weaker ends, I guess. It felt really, really light, definitely in comfort mode, but even going all the way up to Cupra mode, it still felt quite light and definitely had that electronic steering feel where it felt slightly disconnected, especially at low speeds. When you get a bit faster, it does improve a little bit and it feels fine, but yeah, not perfect. But I mean, there's only so much you can ask for. Still pretty good for this car. We drove the petrol version, which is a 4-cylinder, 300 horsepower turbocharged engine with 4-wheel drive, and it felt really, really good, especially getting above 4,000 RPM. You get a real kick of power, and even on the launches as well, it launches so well. It gets from 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds approximately. I think Cupra says 4.9, but you can actually do it in around 4.5, maybe a bit slower. But those are like the same numbers as our Tesla Model 3, so I mean, yeah, it does feel really, really good. You get paddle shifters on the wheel with the dual clutch automatic gearbox, but To be honest, they felt a bit small and a bit more like buttons rather than paddles. I probably would have preferred maybe slightly bigger and a bit more travel, but it was still fine. There's only so much you can ask for. The transmission's also pretty quick as it's a dual clutch system, and it's quite smooth as well. You don't get punched with each gear shift. I might have appreciated a bit more action with the gear shifts, like a bit more of a sensation. It was almost too smooth. But I mean, yeah, it's still good. The brakes were also pretty decent. They weren't super grabby, which makes it really easy to brake quite comfortably, like come to a smooth stop. But with the power of the engine and how quickly you can pick up speed, I probably would have appreciated some grabbier brakes and a bit more braking power just to bring it to a stop a lot more easily. But still, not bad.
Yeah, with the VZ3 you get Brembo brakes, so that probably fixes that issue.
Yeah, I might want to go for the VZ3 if you want some real good stopping power. Now the driving position overall was okay. I never felt like I was in the perfect driving position, but I also didn't feel uncomfortable, so it's not too bad. It was fine. And along with that, the visibility in the car was really, really good, I'd have to say. The bonnet comes up quite high so you can see the front of the car. It's quite easy to also tell how wide it is because it's not really that big. And the mirrors were pretty big on the side, pretty well adjustable. The rear window is a bit small, but it was fine for driving. You could see the car behind you, and the camera when you're reversing, which is standard, is really, really helpful. We're going to get into more of the parking and reversing features in the tech section, but overall I'd have to say the visibility was really good, and I never felt uncomfortable driving it.
Now that Sean's done with driving, I'm going to take the space section. Starting with the front, you've got two semi-usable cup holders, plenty of room in the door bins, you've got some space underneath the armrest, and there's some room in the glove box. So overall, it's pretty good.
Yeah, with the cup holders, I'd say you can only really use one at a time. There's one big one and one little one. You can use the big one for a drink, and then you can use the little one to put like keys or anything else in there.
Yeah, well there's actually a specific place where you can put the keys.
Yeah, that is true. That's pretty cool. I rate that.
In the back, there's plenty of legroom and headroom. I was thinking headroom was going to be a bit of an issue given the sloping roof line, but it's completely fine. And the middle seat, I was actually very impressed with it because there's plenty of room, and I think you can even fit 3 people comfortably in the back with the size of that middle seat.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The middle seat also has the middle bit that folds down, and you've got 2 cup holders there, and in the door bins, you've got a bit of room. Moving to the boot, this is the 4-wheel drive model, so it has 420 litres of storage. If you went for the e-hybrid model, you get 345 litres of storage, and if you went for the front-wheel drive version, you get 450 litres. All of these are still quite a bit smaller than the X1, the Q3, or the XC40, which have around 450 to even 500 litres of storage. The rear seats have a 60-40 split, and there's levers so that they can just fold down and they go pretty darn flat.
Levers.
It's levers.
Now, as a little side note also to do with kind of practicality, if you want to get a tow bar installed, that'll be £710.
Now for technology, we're going to break it up into driving tech and comfort and interior.
All models come with a digital cockpit and a configurable dashboard, which I think are the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just a configurable dashboard, basically.
Yeah, it's a screen.
Yeah, and you get loads of different options, ranging from being pretty practical, like a map, to being really sporty, like you can have the G-forces that you've experienced in the car, power levels, like cool rev counters as well. So there's loads of customizability with it. The steering wheel looks pretty crazy with the big Cupra button on it to change the driving mode, and also the start-stop button being on the wheel. I think that's sick. I think it looks really good. And the layout of the buttons is also pretty familiar. It's quite easy to get used to, although to be fair, the cruise control buttons were a little bit confusing at the start, but we'll get into that in a sec.
All models except the V1 come with park assist and rear view cameras, and you can even get a top view camera for an extra £495. Impressively, there's also autonomous parking, which, well, we'll show you an example of it first. I mean, yeah, it's not that great, and it does take a while to find a spot, so I wouldn't really recommend using it, but it's a cool feature to have.
Yeah, if you're not very confident with your reverse parking into tight spaces, especially in the UK, it might help you out a bit, but it relies on how the other car is parked next to you. So like if the other car is parked kind of badly, you'll be parked really badly. So yeah, it kind of depends. You also get predictive adaptive cruise control as standard, which is just amazing to have standard. Like, it's something that you have in the Tesla, and everyone goes on about like autopilot being so good. It's the first kind of level of that, so it'll just follow the car in front of you and not crash into it, basically. So if you're on the motorway, it makes it a lot easier. It doesn't have the steering per se, but it does have lane keep assist, which helps out a little bit. It's not quite as advanced, but it is still pretty good.
Yeah, there's actually so many safety features that come as standard that I couldn't remember them all, so I wrote them down. There's a front collision sensor with automatic braking, driver alert systems, lane keep assist, traffic sign recognition, blind spot indicators, and rear traffic warnings for when you're backing out. So I mean, all of this as standard, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then plus on top of that, you can get an extended safety feature with seatbelt tensioner and automatic window closure if you're in an accident. That costs £145, but I mean, you get so much with it standard that you wouldn't really need those things, I think.
Moving to comfort and interior, in the VZ2 and VZ3 models, the seats come as standard, heated, and electronically adjustable.
Yeah, and the driver's seat also has 3 memory settings, so yeah, 3 people can drive it and save their seating position.
Yeah, memory profiles are probably like one of the most underrated features.
Yeah.
It's so nice to have.
Yeah. The steering wheel is also heated, which is a really, really awesome feature to have. Like, that's the thing with this car. You just get so many features standard, which is so good. The adjustment on the wheel is manual though, so you have to use a lever and pull it and move it. But, I mean, that's fine. And there's quite a good amount of adjustment with it. The mirrors are also power folding, and they have heating, which is a really great feature to have in the UK with the tight roads and awful weather we have most of the time.
As standard, you get 3 climate control zones, 2 in the front and 1 in the rear. The rear one is probably the easiest one to adjust. You just have a button for hot and a button for cold. But in the front, you have to use this touch bar, which is not the nicest thing to use. I mean, it's not horrible, but a manual physical button climate control would be so much better.
Yeah, it's all in the screen, so it's never ideal. I think climate controls should always kind of be separate, but...
Yeah, but they've got physical vents, so I'll let them...
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Also on the 12-inch infotainment screen, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both wireless as standard. And that's great because the built-in infotainment is pretty average. It's not that great, sometimes confusing to navigate. But I mean, once you've got Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you really don't need to use the built-in one.
You also get a 12-month subscription to online services like traffic and route planning, driving data, and parking position, which you can view through the app.
Yeah, there is an app for this car actually. It works decently. It takes a while to connect and sometimes it just doesn't connect, but you can turn on the climate from the app. You can set up, like you can view when someone else is driving your car, you can see if they speed. There's a few things you can do. It's not amazing, but I mean, it does have an app.
Yeah. The sound system is pretty good, no real complaints. The only annoying thing is that you have to adjust the volume using that annoying touch bar. So I'd much rather have a little scrolly wheel on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you really like your music or your bass, then you can upgrade to a Beats sound system for £390.
Yeah, I think overall the speaker quality was pretty average, just standard, nothing special.
Yeah.
You get a built-in wireless charger in the front where you basically like throw your phone into this pit in the front and it charges down there. It's pretty cool. And there's also 2 USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket in the front. And in the back, you also get 2 USB-C ports. So yeah, modern connections, loads of ports, pretty good.
Yeah. Now for emotion, I feel like the Formentor is a pretty good car if you're looking to have only one car.
Yeah, it's a really good daily driver. Like, it's got a bit of practicality. It's also got the performance there when you need it, but it's comfortable when you need it to be. It's just a really good balance of everything. Emotionally though, I wouldn't say it was like spectacular and had that real like, oh wow, I absolutely love this car. But it definitely did do a really good job.
Yeah. I think it wasn't spectacular in any one way for us. It was just all round. Yeah, it's really good.
It was really good, and I can see it being a real competitor to things like the Golf R because it's just so practical.
Yeah, but I mean, you can even compare it to like the compact SUVs.
Yeah.
And hatchbacks.
Yeah.
So it's an in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can play a lot of roles. Now for the final master rating, I gave it a score of 39 out of 50.
And I gave it a 41 out of 50, giving us an overall master rating of 80 out of 100. That's really good, I'd say. It's not like the most amazing car or like a perfect score by any means, but I mean, it's really, really good to be fair. And
yeah, it's so well-rounded. I mean, pretty much in every perspective, it just gets solid scores. And it's,
very good in terms of the value for money you're getting with so much technology as standard. The performance you get is really good.
It looks good.
It looks really good. Yeah, it is a really good all-round package.
If you guys enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe because it will really help us grow our channel to provide better content.
Thank you so much for watching to the end. That's all from the Master Brothers.
We'll catch you on a flippity flip. I don't know what it is, we just know when it's right.
Yeah. But finally, well, it took a little while, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, in the end. It's fine.
See ya.